welcome to my home. Welcome to my house. Welcome to VidDevoChurch. Now, we like to talk a lot about church being wherever you are, however you are, whatever you're doing, and wherever you're experiencing God and His intimacy in relationship to you and how you deal with God in a personal way. And one of the things that's very personal to me is ribs. Today we're going to answer the question, why? Well, we're going to answer the question, why don't we do more Bible studies? Or why did we stop School of the Bible, which was so powerful, of all these ministries, and more likely you're going to get an idea of why not than you are of why. But that's what we like to do on Sunday afternoon, is get real and get honest about ribs. Okay, we like to get honest about what we like to do. And one of those things is make a mess. I love making messes. Just ask my wife. I start working on plants, the kitchen gets destroyed. Start rearranging the house, her routine gets destroyed. But really, the bottom line is, this is good. And you see, because it's good, I got to tell you about it. These are Costco ribs. They are so good. They're so good, it interrupts my daily routine. Man, they're so good, they make finger-licking chicken look sad. But they're Costco chicken. Costco ribs. They're already pre-cooked. They have an incredible barbecue sauce. When you nuke them to heat them up, or you just heat them up a little bit, since they're already cooked, they've been so cooked that they just fall off the bone. Obviously. As you can see by these bones. But being that they're ribs, they're just so good. They're so good, I want to tell you where to get them at Costco and, buy them for yourself and scarf them, come in a big package about this long, a big rack of ribs, and, they're really good. I've cooked ribs, short ribs, spare ribs, long ribs, big ribs, meaty ribs, and, I've liked what I cook, because I'm a pretty good cook. I've been a short order cook at one time. I like my own cooking, and a lot of times I'll do a variety of things, but one of the things I like more than cooking is I like when someone else cooks. And I really like it when someone else cooks and they cook it the same way every time, and they're able to make it taste so good that I'd almost say they're better at it than I am. Now, when it comes to ribs, these Costco ribs are better than anything I've ever eaten. Better than what I've made, and then better what I bought in a lot of places that, have the smoker and do all the other things, they're good, don't get me wrong, or they're good for once in a while, but they're not good like every other day or every day. Because I'm a type of person that if I can get a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'll eat that every day. And have 21-piece barrel. I used to eat every other day practically. But these ribs have become a natural part of our lifestyle choice, my wife and I, because we love these ribs. They're so good that we made it a part of our daily diet, or at least our weekly diet. Now, I don't have to go out and try to imitate what they have here. They're so good at it, and it's not that expensive that I buy them to eat them. That's kind of what it's like in Bible studies nowadays. I don't want to go to a church that is imitating every other church. That's part of the reason why I don't go to Calvary chapels anymore, because one, God called me into ministry, so that's a good reason. But two, I don't want to be a magpie repeating what I've heard someone else say or demonstrating that I, have no voice or no personal experience in the same thing that others have learned, but I'm just repeating the same thing over and over again. So when it comes to inductive Bible study, I look at some of these guys that are out there in the ministry and I say, well, you're still learning, because until you make it and own it, it's really just you repeating what someone else has said. Well, these commentaries say this and that commentary says that. Well, then what makes you so different? You're just a commentary out there standing in front of a pulpit preaching. You're not teaching. And, that's kind of what Calvary chapels do. They're not much on unique and distinctiveness, except for some of the pastors who have figured that out, that they are going according to what God's will is for their life, and they add their personal way of looking at things and realize that God wants to speak through them. Then they go in a direction that God tells them for that day. Then I agree that those are the ones that God is using and inspiring them for the day. But the reason why we do things here at VidDevoChurch, like we've gone to topical, is because God said, bottom line, to stop. And I said, but Lord, we want to do studies. And I began to kind of get the impression that there are other people out there that do a better job. Now, I'm pretty good at Bible studies. I can come up with things that other pastors won't, haven't done the in-depth analysis or research, and I teach on it. But what God wanted me to do, unique and distinctive to who I am and what my relationship is with God, is the very visible obviousness of having a personal relationship with Jesus. I want to, and God wanted me to, continually return to that foundation that He has given that talks about that personal relationship always, first and foremost, in everything we do at VidDevoChurch. So the way we like to say it at VidDevoChurch is, there are a lot of good pastors out there. They're cooking. And if you are someone like me who likes to taste and see that the Lord is good, I like to shop around for pastors. I like to, within reason, compare notes. Well, they're talking about getting involved in politics. Not me, man. No way. They're talking about getting involved in the military. Not me, man. No way. They like abortion. Really? Is that what Jesus came to do? Stop abortion? No, thank you. They want to bless Israel no matter what they do. Really? Not me, man. But we do find some pastors, some teachers, some ministers that are, wow. I've listened to what they have to say, and I taste it, and I go, damn, they're good. Okay. Blessings, they're good. But really, they're that good. Rich Chafin's ministry right now at Calvary Chapel, Laguna Creek. It's that good. It's like eating ribs, man. If you had these ribs in your mouth right now, you wouldn't be able to stop eating them. You wouldn't be able to stop munching on luncheon. You'd be going, man, that's good. God, that's just too good. Oh, you just, Lord, do you know? I mean, oh, God, wow. For me? Really? You made these for me? Oh, man, Lord, thank you for showing me where they were at Costco. And you'd just be so full of the joy of just slobbering, almost drooling over how good these are. Ah. You'd be biting into them like I am. and chewing on the meat, and feeling that barbecue sauce just explode with flavor inside your mouth, you'd almost spit into the camera. That good. I mean, it's almost better than Pepsi. Almost. Be careful. But that's what it's like with some Bible studies. If you'll check around, you may not have the best pastor in the world. You may not have the best minister. They may be good for one thing, but not good for another. At times, you may have someone who is called, anointed, and appointed to prayer. I know Odin Fong is a very powerful minister of God. He had been involved in the Calvary Chapel movement, been involved in many of the early bands, is a minister or pastor, whatever you want to call him, at a certain church. But I can tell you that his prayer ministry is probably a lot bigger and more anointed and more directive than anything I've ever seen in men of God lately. Hasn't been something like that phenomenon of what's going on with his prayer ministry since I don't know when. I mean, when we were involved in it at VidDevo prayer, we saw people miraculously being healed. We saw people being touched. We saw people's lives changed. And wow, I mean, it was like, boy, Lord, this is pretty interesting. And, we were spending so much time on it that, we took time to back off and say, but Lord, should we let them pray, and just commit their ministry, everything the anointing you've given us for prayer to them and let them keep going, because they're powerful. And the Lord said, yes. I went, okay. We explained it and backed off, posting prayers and teaching people how to pray and, recognizing that prayer is conversation and that you need to have that conversation with God, that in some ways it's okay to petition and have those obvious prayers, but you should still be behind the scenes praying without being seen, like Jesus said. But even in the obvious part of prayer, Odin Fong's ministry on the Facebook and the internet is powerful. It's anointed. And the same way with Rich's ministry when it comes to discipleship, teaching you about Jesus. You can't go there without knowing Jesus. Believe me, you'll know Jesus by the time you leave there. I would, no matter what it took, move there from wherever I was and stay there if I didn't know what God's will was for my life. I'd find even a job working out in the fields, like for minimum wage, just to be next to that church. I mean, did I tell you how good this is? Man, melts in your mouth and all over your hand. And fingers too. But when you find something that good, you gotta tell somebody. When you've tasted and seen how wonderful God is in somebody's ministry, you don't want to interrupt it, touch it, or influence it in any way. You want to tell somebody. When you see the anointing that's come down upon a person, you just go, wow. I want to pray with them. It's like when you watch me eat these, I don't know if you're getting the right impression, but you ought to buy these. And I'm not selling them. They're just that good. God ought to come down and have some. And that's really why we do what we do at VidDevoChurch. There isn't anybody that does devotionals better than we do. Sorry, it's just true. We've been anointed. We've done devotionals in written form. We've done them in video form. We've done them in, personally, people visiting or whatever. We've done them in church, done them outside the church. I mean, VidDevo is video devotional, but there's nobody that does devotionals like we do. I mean, we've been an aggregate ministry for, 10 or 20 years, posting other people's ministry for so long that God finally said, you post your ministry. But Lord, they're so much better than I am at devotionals. And you know what? When God comes down and says, no, they're not, then you know what God wants you to do. So what I could tell you in Sunday afternoon, relaxing, kicking back, in the still quiet of the day. You should get some ribs. You should get messy with God. You should taste and see that the Lord is good. But really, you should try out what I've told you about with Odin Fong and prayer in Facebook. You should discover for discipleship Bible study, going through the Bible with Rich Chafin from Calvary Chapel, Laguna Creek. You should, as it were, for devotionals, or topical devotionals, or short teachings, sermonettes as they're called, vignettes as they've been called at times. Check out VidDevo and VidDevo Ministry by Googling it on the internet, and you'll find VidDevo somewhere. Make sure you spell it with 2 D's. VidDevo. Google always wants to spell it differently, then you can't find anything by VidDevo. But if you spell it right, then tell it to look up that without changing it, you'll find us all over the internet. But when something's that good, something's as good as Odin Fong or Rich Chafin, or maybe like in the old days, Chuck Smith or John Corson, or dare I say, Romaine for discipleship. You got to tell somebody, because when it's that good, oh my God, then it is that good.